You carry other people's words, not the advice, the exact words. The pause before the last sentence, the half tone that dropped when they admitted what they hadn't told anyone. Everyone does this, and everyone thinks they know why. The answer you've been giving yourself is that you understand people, that this is connection, that this is what closeness sounds like. It isn't. Understanding someone is not the same as being close to them. That sentence feels wrong, because the entire culture of emotional intelligence has trained us to equate the two. Read the room, hold space, validate feelings. Skills. Skills aren't bonds, they're operations. You can map a stranger's pain with more precision than a partner's joy. Not because you're broken, because understanding and closeness operate on completely different circuits. You felt this. You understood exactly what your friend needed. And somehow, after the conversation, you drove home alone and felt nothing. Psychology made the distinction decades ago. Cognitive empathy is the ability to map another person's internal state, predict what they'll feel, what they need, where the wound is. A surveillance system, precise, detached, functional. Affective empathy is involuntary resonance. Their pain lands in your chest, not because you chose to understand, because you couldn't not feel. Here's the mechanism. Cognitive empathy can be trained, optimized, deployed on demand. Affective empathy cannot. It fires or it doesn't. And in people who have spent years managing other people's emotions, the therapist friend, the fixer, the one everyone calls at 2 a.m., the cognitive pathway dominates so completely that the affective atrophies. You don't feel less. You feel through a filter that converts feeling into data before it reaches you. The warmth arrives as information. You know this person. Maybe you are this person, the one everyone trusts with their worst moments, and who drives home alone afterward, wondering why none of it sticks. Cambridge has a name for that profile. Simon Baron-Cohen at Cambridge documented this with precision. High cognitive empathy combined with low affective empathy produces a specific profile. Someone who reads people without fail and feels connected to no one. The empathy trap isn't that you lack empathy. It's that you optimized one type until it cannibalized the other. The psychologists weren't the first to notice this. Kierkegaard diagnosed the architecture a century earlier. He called his era the Age of Reflection, a civilization so committed to self-understanding that it forgot how to simply be. In the last episode, we found the spectator, the figure on the balcony, watching the parade, commenting, analyzing, never descending. That's the first movement, distance through observation. But Kierkegaard identified a second movement, deeper, more corrosive. He called it nivellement, the reduction of the irreducible to the general. The moment when someone's specific, unrepeatable experience becomes a category, a diagnosis, a case. I understand this must be difficult for you. You've said this, you've meant it, but notice what the sentence does. It places you one step above the experience, not inside, above, observing, managing. The clinical gaze that mistakes proximity for closeness. And then leveling begins. Your friend's 3 a.m. panic, the one that smells like their childhood kitchen and sounds like their mother's voice, becomes classic attachment anxiety. Your partner's withdrawal becomes avoidant attachment response, precise, correct, and violently reductive. Kierkegaard's nivellement. When you level someone's experience into a category, you understand them perfectly, and you have made it impossible to be close to them. Because closeness requires the irreducible, the specific, that which cannot be categorized. Think of the map and the territory. You can draw the entire topography of a landscape, every elevation, every watercourse, every contour line measured and labeled. You can hold the map in your hands and understand the place completely. But the map has no wind, no cold, no way to gasp when you step into the river. You've been carrying the map everywhere. The territory is where they live, and the two don't touch. Martin Buber, 1923. Two primary words. The it mode is the mode of experience. The other person is object of your perception, your analysis, your care. You relate to them through what they need, what they lack, what you can provide. A case, even a beloved case. The thou mode is the mode of presence. The other person is not an object of anything, no function, no utility, just the irreducible fact of existing alongside another being, without reducing them to what they produce in you. The it mode is the relational mode in which nivelment operates, not a separate idea, but the name for what happens between two people when one of them is running the leveling mechanism in real time. The therapist friend lives almost entirely in the it mode, not by cruelty, by expertise. The same skill that makes you valuable in a crisis, the ability to see the other person as a system to be understood, makes you constitutionally incapable of the formless, useless, de-optimized presence that closeness demands. Buber wrote, "All real living is meeting, not analyzing the meeting, not being useful during the meeting. Meeting. And here is what the performance costs. People don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with what you do for them. And what you do for them is not who you are. You needed them to need you, but you needed them to stay. Those aren't the same thing. If every friendship you have is defined by what you provide, then every relationship is a transaction you can't afford to stop. Not because they'll leave, because if they stopped needing you, you wouldn't know what to say to them. You'd be in a room with someone you love, with nothing to fix, nothing to decode, nothing to manage. Just two people, and the nameless weight of being ordinary." So what the mechanism looks like when it starts to break. Not what you should do, what tends to happen to people who stop running this specific program first. The question changes. People who stop being the therapist friend don't start by doing something different. They start by asking something different. The question, why is this person like this? The diagnostic question, the map question, gets replaced by, what is this person feeling right now? Not the origin, the present, the territory. Second, the expert frame drops. At some point, they admit out loud that they don't understand, even when they do, especially when they do. The sentence, "I don't know what to say, but I'm here," is not a failure of intelligence. It's the first honest thing they've said in months. It breaks the analyst frame, makes the person a person again. Third, the mechanism simply stops running. The calibrated pause doesn't fire. The follow-up doesn't load. The silence arrives and nothing manages it. Not because they chose to let it, but because the program that would have intervened doesn't execute. The reflex that has been running every room for years loses grip. What's left is two people and no useful output between them. Presence without production. This is what it looks like when the system fails. Not a decision, not a leap. Just the absence of something that used to fill every gap. It's 10:15. You're on the couch. Not on your phone, not on the balcony. They're next to you. No crisis, no wreckage, just there, reading something, glancing up occasionally to say something that isn't a confession. You reach for the old reflex, the scanning, the calibration, the loaded "you okay" with its professional undertone. But they're fine, genuinely fine. So you sit there with nothing to do, nothing to fix, nothing to be good at. Instead of the map, you notice their shoulder against yours, the lamp, the way the light catches the edge of the table, the same words you carried in the opening, the exact pause, the half tone, they're still there. But they feel different now. Not information, just sound. Someone's voice in a room next to you. Small, ordinary, irreducible. The system flags this as unproductive. No crisis to manage. No output generated. No evidence of usefulness. The mechanism survived every room, every crisis, every 2 a.m. call. What it couldn't survive was a quiet Tuesday and nothing to fix. You just spent 11 minutes understanding a mechanism you've understood for years. You already knew the map wasn't the territory. The question isn't whether you understood this. The question is who you called last week just to say nothing in particular. There's a button below. I'm curious which kind of reader you are.